Hi, take a listen to this. So that is a bunch of parallel processing happening on this. Oh, what an interesting tremolo. After my video last week, I really couldn't stop thinking about different ways to use uncertainty. And the reason is, throughout my life, ever since I kind of realized that music was the way I was going to go, and since building a life and like a parallel career, 2 parallel careers around it, I've never really embraced chance and randomness. I think for many, many years, that was probably my biggest flaw. I had a really hard time letting go of control. And while I wouldn't say it started with this whole modular journey, the modular certainly helped with the letting go of control. But even then, there's been trends in the way that I use these systems of instruments. And control has still been a big part. That's why I have this big touch blade over here. That's why everything has CV ins and outs. That's why it's all MIDI'd up, etc. I like having that. And while I'm not sure uncertainty will stay in my rack forever as it grows, it's not really part of my active plans. I am pretty taken with what I'm able to do with it right now. And what I'm able to do with it right now is turn it into a pretty unpredictable sequence selector. I'm trying to keep this brief, so I don't think I'll go into full patch notes like I have before. I don't think I'll write them out either. But I have 4 Euclidean rhythms coming from the bottom row of PAMs, and those are being sent in pairs to 2 channels on Switchblade. Those channels are being switched by uncertainty, and then the resulting trigger patterns are going into this envelope, the Tenderfoot Hike. It's a dual function generator. I do love a function generator, especially one with multiple modes. Let's make it more plucky. And so that, the hike, that is opening these filters, Prism and Ikari, as well as being multed into the stereo VCAs, which I've talked about before. A nice classic synthesis block. And then there's some other stuff going on. The audio is also being multed in between those 2 paths, and then a channel data bender, which we can just take out and bring back in, and take out and bring back in. Just leave it out for now. And so most of the control, as it were, just lives in these knobs over here for envelope shaping, which is doing quite a bit. There's some LFOs. There's always LFOs. There's some sample and hold going into beads. Beads is acting as a big delay right now, which is a mode I really love. Only a touch of reverb. I'm not really big into reverbs. Oh, wow. What's if I freeze that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty good. And so, I think in the realm of electronic music, which is not how I started out in music, being able to let go of meter and tempo and all that requires quite a bit of work, I've noticed. I'm not the first person to notice this, but I certainly have noticed it. And I think it's very satisfying work when you get to know an instrument that is very unlike acoustic instruments, even electroacoustic instruments. Something that is, at first, a lot less physical. Bring up a little bit. Yeah, something that is at first a lot less physical. Because when you're in a jazz ensemble, when you're learning to comp, when you're learning to walk, when you're learning to sight read, improvisation, to some degree, is the name of the game. That's interesting. Improvisation is really everything. Even if you're not always going to do it, you need to know how to do it. And as comfortable as I am picking up a stringed instrument and just doing what needs to be done, whether that be noodling or actually playing something of substance, finding that in an electronic realm is something new. I don't think it's always what I'm looking for. Because again, control is pretty valuable. But it is certainly nice to have. And so in this, I have rhythms locked to the tempo. It's almost a percussion line. There's some logic going on between the channels so that they aren't firing all at the same time in case there's a rapid switch over. But right now it's like the system playing with and to some degree against me. It's a good noise. Very plucky. And your friend? Less plucky. For now. Yeah, this is a strange, not new, but still interesting kind of pitched percussive line. Let's emphasize those transients. Make them more regular. Less of that. More of this. It's pretty good. That's okay. That's more than okay. Let's introduce more feedback. I think the sounds you're hearing right now are maybe 2.5 years old. It's some analog 4. So wonderful wonderful little system in a box. One that I will be making great use of and perhaps talking about. And I think that this adds to it. It's not going to be the soloist, the player out in front or anything. But for me, too much is never enough. And so having more and more interesting textures to pull from here or elsewhere is something I greatly look forward to. One of the things that really kept me in this format is being able to just record tonal nonsense like this. And again, allowing me to play in a different way and play in a slower way. Play in an unmoisturized way. It's very cold here in Pennsylvania, which is good. I wish it had gotten cold earlier. I'm distressed that it did not. I'm very glad I'm capturing those sounds. Beats is a really excellent flanger, if you haven't used it as such. I've been able to synthesize some really interesting vocal textures. Vocal-like textures. Using it. Is that a one-up noise? Huh. Alright, well, this has been wonderful. I've been in Cozy. I'm always in Cozy, which I like. And I will contact you through some esoteric aleatoric means later.